China's influence is spreading, and they are making a concerted effort to spread it even further. Does it look like we're going to have a global conflict? Well, we're already in the middle of a proxy war between Russia and Ukraine. So could that expand and include Taiwan and therefore include China and the US? We know relations are strained, but their influence is growing. And we need to talk about it because you need to be prepared for the outcome. Coming up. I'm Lynette Zang, Chief Market Analyst here at ITM Trading, a full-service physical gold and silver dealer specializing in custom strategies. And if you don't have one yet, and especially the foundation of sound money, gold and silver, click that Calendly link below and set a time to talk to one of our specialists, because clearly the rest of the world, meaning global central banks and global governments, they have a plan and they have a strategy and they are executing it, and you need one too. So let's just jump right into what's going on with China, because frankly, they have expanded their gold reserves at the central bank for the 5th month. Interesting. Why would they be doing that, you might ask? Well, in an interview with Kitco News, Paul Wong, he's a market strategist at Sprott, said, analysts note China is expected to continue to increase its official gold reserves as it builds international credibility for the yuan. Why would they do that? Because fiat money is based on a government's ability to have your confidence, and globally and in China as well, confidence, public confidence in those that are in power are declining. And so history shows us 100% of the time when all confidence in the currencies are lost, what do governments do? They back the new currency at the end of the day with gold to get you, the public, to trust it again. And this is not a surprise. Okie doke. Nations have to be strategic as they diversify their holdings and can't just dump all the US dollars they're holding. So what they're trying to create in here is a planned demolition. Now, what happens, because the whole world has been forced to use US dollars if you're going outside of your borders to buy oil or lumber or medicine or food or anything. But we know that that trend has been shifting. It is really, 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 frankly, at a critical mass now, heating up. If you are breaking into different economic blocks and tensions arising across the board, across the political spectrum, you want to get off those US dollar assets, your only choice is to buy gold. I mean, this has been proven for over 6,000 years. If you think that there might be something else, if you think this time might be different, maybe you're right, but maybe you're wrong. So why not do something that it doesn't matter whether you're right or whether you're wrong? And that, my friends, is gold. Why? Simply because gold is used across every single sector of the global economy. So 100% of the time, there is demand. And you have the broadest base of function and the broadest base of buyers. When you're going into the fight that we're going in, what do you want? You want something that only is used in one area? Or do you want something that has the broadest base of buyer? Plus, according to the Bank for International Settlements, gold held at home runs no geopolitical risk. That's what we need. That's what we all need right now. China completes the first yuan settled Ling trade. That is for natural gas. China has placed an emphasis on settling oil and gas trades in yuan in recent years in a bid to establish its currency internationally and to weaken, this is more to the point, to weaken the US dollar's grip on world trade. And so what we're really seeing here is power shifting. We've been talking about this for a number of years. But Chinese national oil company CNOOC and France's Total Energies have completed China's first yuan-settled liquefied natural gas LNG trade through the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange. Isn't that interesting? And again, China has placed an emphasis on settling oil and gas. These are critical natural resources that are physical. There's a finite amount of this. But what is particularly notable to me is that France was participating in this, and they're part of the Euro. Yep, and the Eurozone. Saudi Aramco boosts China investment with 2 refinery deals. So can you see how this critical piece of U.S. is remaining in control and power? Can you see how that's shifting? The 2 deals, announced separately on Sunday and Monday, would see Aramco supplying the 2 Chinese companies with a combined 690,000 barrels a day of crude oil, bolstering its rank as China's top provider of the commodity. That's the important part in here. So the allegiance, the complete allegiance that the U.S. had with Saudi Arabia, gone. And it was the petrodollar that enabled the U.S. dollar to retain its status as the world reserve currency. So no longer do you have to use dollars for trade and energy. The deals are the biggest to be announced since Chinese President Xi Jinping visited the kingdom in December, where he called for oil trade in yuan, a move that would weaken the U.S. dollar's dominance in global trade. Beijing's secret role in the breakthrough shook up dynamics in the Middle East, where the United States was for decades the main deal maker. This is extremely significant because we do also know that the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which is every central bank, almost every central banker and every treasury secretary in the world, almost, they're members. So this is showing a very clear power shift to the world. Can you see the petrodollar dying? Because this is its death knell. This is it, people. And it's here already. It's not something we're waiting for. And this shift has been going on for quite some time. In the meantime, Chinese naval surveillance ship docks in South Africa port. And remember, the BRICS nation, which includes South Africa. So China is expanding its influence globally. South Africa has courted criticism from the U.S. and its allies for refusing to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine and holding the naval exercise with several Russian and Chinese vessels off its east coast in February over the first anniversary of the outbreak of the conflict. Pretoria is currently contemplating whether to allow Russian President Vladimir Putin to attend a BRICS bloc summit that it will host in August. And keep in mind, it's been OPEC plus, and that plus is Russia. And it's been that way for a while. So this is not, everything seems to happen really slowly until it happens quickly. And that's what we're dealing right now. And everything is getting repositioned. You know how your wealth should be repositioned? Right here, physical gold, physical silver in your possession, because these are things that are way beyond your control. But you also need food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter to survive this transition, because the entire world is resetting into a new social, economic, and financial system. And those that hold their purchasing power intact will be those that can benefit from this transition. Usually it's just those in power. How about you become one of the ones in the know? And you do the same thing, because this is the only way that we can secure a positive future for our children. That and coming together in community and saying no. Remember, we vote with our purses and our wallets. So if you keep your wealth in the stock market, the bond market, the annuity market, all of that are fiat money. If that's where you're holding your wealth, that's your vote. And you're basically saying, okay, here, I'm volunteering my wealth for this transition. But if you take it out and you put it in physical gold and physical silver, and then you take possession of it, because we all know, if you don't hold it, you don't own it, regardless of your perception. If you don't hold this, then you have nobody to blame but yourself, because you are forewarned. And we have so much history that supports this. But again, this had me a little concerned when I saw this, with lavish treatment of Macron, who is, by the way, pushing through pension reforms, whether the public likes it or not. Too bad, so sad. China's Xi woos France to counter the U.S. China's Xi Jinping has given French President Emmanuel Macron an unusually lavish welcome on a state visit, which, I like this, unusually lavish welcome, which some analysts see as a sign of Beijing's growing offensive to woo key allies within the European Union to counter the United States. And so what we're watching is China's making an attempt to shift the U.S. allies. And what did we show with this whole conflict? Is that we will use SWIFT, the U.S.'s global payment system, to control the outcome and make countries do what we want them to do. This has not gone unnoticed. I'm telling you right now, this has not gone unnoticed. And this is a little, take heed of this. This is a big deal, because with this, we're already seeing the French president ignore the population and the public. We've seen that before. We'll see it again. We'll see it here. We'll see it there. We'll see it everywhere. But China knows the best how to control their population. And yet, even the Chinese public is starting to rebel in different ways. It's really interesting what's happening in China. Absolutely, for sure. In the meantime, as a warning, another one, they did it when Nancy Pelosi went to visit Taiwan. China simulates hitting key targets on Taiwan. China has simulated precision strikes against key targets on Taiwan and its surrounding waters during a second day of military drills. The drills, which Beijing has called a stern warning to the self-governing island, are a response to Taiwan's president visiting the U.S. last week. The U.S. is not going to let China tell us what we can and cannot do. Can you see this conflict brewing? As the Chinese military simulated an encirclement of the island, the U.S. urged China to show restraint. Yeah, and the U.S. isn't going to tell China what to do either. Taiwan said about 70, this is a lot, 70 Chinese aircraft flew around the island on Sunday, and 11 Chinese ships were also spotted. Battle lines are being drawn, and everybody is poking at each other. So the U.S. is poking at China, and China is poking at the U.S. I don't know. I'm sure they will settle this diplomatically. But some think that that World War III has already started in cyberspace. We just can't see it yet. But what we're saying is China is trying to have it both ways with Russia. That's our representative. We're there to be a crisis as a result of China's actions over Taiwan. That would have repercussions for quite literally every country on earth. So why is China buying so much gold? Why are global central banks on a massive global gold buying spree to the level that we haven't seen it since the 60s, when we were transitioning from at least a quasi-gold-backed standard into a pure debt-based standard? Because whoever holds the gold retains their freedom, their choices, and their power. Honestly, it is just that simple. Central bank gold buying updates. So this is globally. 2023 sees the strongest start of the year in more than a decade. That's going back to the financial crisis, going back to 2010, when they went to a net positive buying level. Rising for the 11th month in a row. 11th month in a row. Have you been buying for 11 months in a row? The smartest guys on this fiat money system are buying gold as much as they can, as quickly as they can. And personally, I think you should always do what the smartest guys in the room are doing for themselves, regardless of what they make that spot market look like, because that is simply a contract market, and they can create as much gold that does not nor ever will exist as they want to. No big deal. Before they changed the accounting rules, I saw myself with my own eyes, unfortunately before I knew print screen, where for every 1 physical ounce of gold, the banks had created over 62,000 ounces of digital gold. You think that could suppress the visible price? But in the physical market, there's a finite amount, and people have been buying a whole lot more. Same thing with silver. Anything physical, there is a finite amount. And so what we've been seeing in this market are new highs coming up, breakouts happening. I've shown you this before. I'll show it to you again in the future. You just want to be quite clear. Don't look at this. The spot market does not represent the true fundamental value of an ounce of gold, which is substantially higher than this, maybe 15,000, maybe more. So this is truly undervalued. And again, I'm going to encourage you strongly, if you haven't talked to one of our gold and silver specialists, click that Calendly link below. Make that happen, because they can explain the fundamental value to you. You will then be buying into something that is in a long-term positive trend. And you know this because we have a series of higher and higher lows. Don't worry about this part up here. As long as you keep getting higher and higher lows, guess what? You're going to break out and you're going to get higher highs. And of course you are. And not because Wall Street decides that, but because that is how those overnight resets take place. They take dollars that have, well, it might as well be this, but this is a $20 bill, right? They take dollars that have no intrinsic value. They're used in one place. That's it in the financial system. And they revalue them against gold that is all intrinsic value because it's used across every single avenue of the global market, every single market, every single sector. That's when you will see gold begin to express to its fundamental value. So you want to get it now, like the central banks are doing it, while we still can. It really is, frankly, just that simple. And again, smartest guys in the room, buying it for themselves. Don't you think you should? Because it looks like they're prepping. Are you prepping? If not, get to it. We are running out of time. I'm just thankful that I started when I did with gold and silver 2002, when it was like 258 on the spot market, something like that. For food, water, energy, security, barterability, community, and shelter, 2010. And boy, because I knew the system died in 2008. So we launched our new, I'm so excited about this because frankly, we worked on it for like 3 years. I thought it was never going to launch, but we launched our new community app, the Thrivers Community. So make sure to download on the web at www.thriverscommunity.com or on Google Play or the App Store, the Thrivers Community. Come join us where like-minded people are coming together to help each other and to tell everybody what they're doing. And, you know, we can form groups in there. I'm so excited about the engagement in here. Come and join us. Check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. You're not going to have to feel alone anymore. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our Beyond Gold and Silver channel and our ITM Spanish-speaking channel. What I particularly like about the Spanish-speaking channel is that we go under like around 10 minutes, I think we're shooting for. And we take whatever video we did on Tuesday, and then Fernando asks me questions. So it's like small enough that these could be things, because it's in both Spanish and English, that you can share with others that maybe you can't get them to listen to a 20-minute or 30-minute video, but you can get them to listen to a 7-minute, a 10-minute video, and that could be the start. So come join us on both those channels and hopefully you'll find value in there. We always try to bring value. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe, because there are a lot of things that are happening now and you need to know about it. Leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and share, because remember, your financial shield is made of physical gold, physical silver in your possession. And until next we meet, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.